Hello, and I'm back for video 5 of how to do objection management. Today we're going to see perhaps one of the most common frustration for agent realtors, which is when the client disappears. The client can disappear really at 3 key moments. After a great welcome call, after your initial meeting, we would say, he can disappear the day of the showing, just simply as a no-show, and he can disappear right after a good day of showing. So in your mind, everything's going well, you got a good connection, everything went well, and suddenly the client disappears. So first and foremost, I'm sorry to say, this is part of the life of being a realtor. It will happen. It has happened to everyone who is in the industry, and will happen to everyone who will come into the industry. It is part of the game. It is frustrating. It is disrespectful, of course. It shouldn't happen, but it will. So the real question is, what can we do in order to minimize this effect? And the key part is to understand, why do clients do it? Very often is because they're not respecting your time, nor do they necessarily understand that your time has value, and it is important for you to be able to have the deal closed in order to actually earn your money. So of course you can just simply explain to the client, but it's always a little bit awkward to tell them like, hey, respect my time, otherwise if you don't close, we don't get paid, because this is just not proper salesmanship. But there's definitely a lot of things that you can do. The first thing that you should do is show that you're an added value. Create a clear timeline, clear deadline for the client to be able to achieve small goals towards their biggest purpose of finding a home. This has two key elements. The first one is, if they start missing the deadline immediately, you know that this client will actually be a no-show further down the line, and will save you a lot of time. However, by simply engaging in putting a clear timeline to the client, you're actually showing that you will be able to solve their problem. There is a path towards a resolution, and you are the key to it. So the first thing you do, you try to really make sure that you understand the purpose of the client. From there on, you explain to them, look, I'm going to send you a recommendation at that time. We're going to jump on a call right after it, or right around that time, and we're going to be able to review them together, and I will be able to help you find not the property that you selected on the website, but the one that you need. You show that your knowledge will enable them to find what they really want. So many times do clients actually work with several realtors because they keep on making requests to realtors without the realtor actually provide an added value, without actually finding the property that the client need, because they didn't quite understand the purpose of the client. Don't be that realtor. Be the realtor that understands the purpose. Set a clear timeline. Send the recommendation, that's step 1, and then follow up immediately after with a phone call, not letting the client tell you what they prefer, but actually have an active, interesting conversation where you give your opinion to and suggestion to your client. That's absolutely key, because now suddenly you're providing an added value. When you provide an added value, the value of your time to your client has increased tremendously. And remember, we're in an industry where most people are not professional. So if the simple fact that you are organized, and that you have an opinion, and that you can help them, will put you ahead of everybody else. This will drastically reduce the amount of MIA clients. So now that you have a clear timeline, and that you're able to help the client, the next step is actually a few tricks, if you will, to reduce each one of those things. So we've already talked about the client. You do a great welcome call. You send them the recommendation on the time that you have agreed with the client. You call them, they don't reply. At that point, don't drop the client, but do send them a message saying like, hey, we had a time that is agreed, that was agreed. I understand that you're busy. let me know when we can reschedule. Here are the 2 options that are the best for me. Set 2 options, because if you just tell them, let me know, there is no time frame, which means they don't have any obligation. But give at least 2 options that will increase, and then give them a deadline, which is, if I haven't heard from you until that time, for example, the next 24 hours, I will consider that you're no longer interested, or I will have to move on to other clients. Now, this sentence is something that you will hear quite a few times in all of my bags of advice, and it's very important that you say the following, which is, I will have to attend to other clients, or I will have to focus on other clients, because it shows that you're a professional, that you have other clients, and that you have priority. What is very important you do not say is, I have other things to do. Those things seems very similar, implies very different things to the client. Very important. So you've created a clear timeline. They've missed the first deadline. Is the first timeline. You now offer a second one, and with a clear proposal and a clear deadline. If by that time they still haven't replied to your text and or your phone call, it is very likely that those clients are dead in the water. But we'll go with, they actually had a meaningful conversation with you, and they will now are organizing showings. Now, the simple fact that they've actually followed the initial timeline diminish tremendously the chances that they will disappear. But here's a few things that you can do to make sure that there is no-show on the day of the showings. In the morning, as soon as you wake up, you send them a text message saying like, dear client, of course their first name, we will have showings today. We will have 5 showings, a little bit of a recap. You give the first property we're going to visit is at this address, make it easier for them to be able to put it into the GPS, and we will meet you there. About half an hour before, or 45 minutes, depending on the location, I will text you to make sure that we're both on our way and that we show up on time. Please know that if we are late for the first showing, it will be difficult to see all of the properties. Let them know that there is something that is already planned and organized, and then there is something to lose as well, being able to find the property of their dream because of the time frame. This is not about not being nice to the clients. It's really just simply about being professional and organized. Nobody will blame you for being professional and organized. And again, you do it in a nice, gentle manner. The next step is right before you leave, perhaps 10-15 minutes before, you let them know that you're about to leave. Make sure you have good communication, and when you're about to leave, tell them like, hey, how far are you? Are you already in your car? Just simply a little confirmation. It doesn't need to be overbearing. It just needs to be to flow. If you're worried that they tell you they have left, but you don't think that they actually did, which is unfortunately something that does happen, you can just simply ask them, how far does the GPS says you are? At that point, they will typically answer an exact number or say, well, actually I didn't really leave, we're going to be a little bit delayed. Asking for precise information is also okay. Of course, do it in a nice manner, but that's what the next scenario is you had a great day of showing with a client, and then they disappear. One of the great way to actually diminish this is to absolutely make sure that by the end of the day, the client has made a decision, go or no go, on each one of the property. So I encourage you to do this actually after each one of the property you visit, but you can also do it at the end of each showing, where you sit down with your client. It's not a time where you both leave and say, I'll let you know. It's actually a time where, okay, what did you think of this property? What didn't you like about this property? Or would you like to make an offer? Yes, let's make an offer and move forward. In the event that they have not liked any of the properties, you must, first and foremost, understand why they didn't like any of the properties, what is missing, so that you're able to make a better assessment for the next time, and give them the next steps. which is the next step, is sending them a new recommendation and already setting up like what is the day that you're going to be doing new showings. By setting again a timeline and active next step, you're engaging the client to keep on working towards a funnel and towards a resolution, and you're getting the client engaged and knowing that they're moving forward. This is a very, very similar subject of our video on how to manage online leads between being a leader and an enabler. And I encourage you to watch this video again, and you can find the link down below in the description. Creating clear expectation, being nice, but also professional will show that your time has value, that you're providing an added value, and it will create trust and stickiness to your client. Those are things that are absolutely normal. I know it is sometimes very difficult to put deadlines on your clients. You're afraid that by being too pushy, you would lose the client. But actually it's the reverse. By, again, being nice, but professional, you will actually show your worth, you will show your added value. The client will be more and more likely to stick with you. When people take charge and shows that they can solve and they can help in a professional manner, they stay with you. So this is the end of this video. I trust that you find a lot of really good advice. Don't hesitate to subscribe, and happy closings.